Okay, looks like we've started. Hi, look, I'm Fiona from Informed Health, and this is my Thursday Thoughts with Fiona. I wanted to talk today. I've seen a lot of news articles lately talking about the negative side of gratitude or positivity. So I just wanted to talk about that to put a bit of clarity around it, because certainly at Informed Health, with whether it be in our programs like Stress Less program, which is coming up next month, or in our one-to-one consultations, we do talk to our clients about things like gratitude and about not so much positivity but language. But anyway, I'll talk to you about that. So what's historically, there's been a movement of sort of positive thinking people that kind of say, essentially it's like teaching you to say, just to say positive things, and if you just say positive things, if you just say lots of positive things, that's going to come true, and that's how it's going to be. And there's positives and negatives about that, but the problem is, if we're lying, if we're not telling the truth, we don't believe it anyway. So if you are saying I'm really really happy and you're not, it doesn't get you there, because you're not. And we just don't believe ourselves when we're not telling the truth. So you can say, though, I haven't always been happy, or I'm struggling to be happy lately, because that's still really true, but it does leave the door open for things changing. But essentially, the sort of just rah rah positive language for positive language's sake is not really useful. And the reason why is because human emotions are complicated, human beings are complicated, and to change anything, to truly change anything, we need to be present with what is, and we need to be honest about what is. And that requires us actually being present with the fact that at the moment we're feeling angry, or at the moment we're feeling sad, or at the moment we're feeling whatever it is that the experience we're having, we're feeling anxious, whatever it is. You can't move on from that until you actually are present with it, because you can't fix something that you can't see, that you can't define, that you're not acknowledging. So while being positive is great and all, you cannot change to something positive without actually being present with what is now. You have to be present with who you are now, what is actually really going on for you right now, before you can make that change to something more positive. So just saying sort of rah positive things just for something to do, not necessarily helpful. And not only that, but then it makes people feel guilty because they don't feel that way. So you're saying the rah positive thing because everyone's saying the rah positive thing, but you're actually feeling really angry, or you're feeling really sad, or you're feeling really resentful, or you're feeling really unheard. And so that doesn't change anything within you. It actually, if anything, just makes you feel more disconnected, because you're sort of on the outside saying rah, everything's great, but you don't feel that way. So that's kind of toxic positivity, I think, just being positive for positive sake, but without doing the work to make something positive. The other thing to remember too is that it is okay. Not everything has to be positive and great and happy all the time. Life is just a mixture of stuff, and so while it is great to aim for a life where generally you're content and things, you're enjoying life and all that sort of stuff, it doesn't mean you have to be happy constantly the whole time, and it has to be that way, and you've got to be positive the whole time, and you're never allowed to have a negative thought, or you're not allowed to be angry. That's just not true. And I think that Stepford Wives or something, that we don't want that, right? So we need to be able to be real, but we also want to aim to have successful lives and be happy in our lives. Yes, of course, absolutely, but that requires actually just being present with what is now. Eckhart Tolle, in his books, he explains it quite well. He sort of says that a lot of the majority of human suffering comes from not being willing to be present for what is with what is right now. So even in the past saying shoulda, coulda, woulda, or in the future saying, oh my God, what's going to happen, or I'll be happy when, or there's something about the future, but we're not being present now. But if you want to be happy when, you have to do something now. And if you want to do something now, you have to be present with what is. You have to actually be present with the fact that right now you're not well, or you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling angry, or whatever's going on, because you can't correct that, or maybe correct is the wrong word because you might not need to correct it, but you can't work through whatever that's about You can't move on to something else until you've just been present with what is. So just be really, really aware of positivity is great and all, but not when it's kind of like a toxic positivity that is actually just a denial of the truth. That's not positive. And where gratitude can come into it, because I read something the other day kind of saying that gratitude was not healthy, and I'll just, excuse me, sorry. But when I read further into it, what they were saying is kind of what I've already just said. But look, there are times in life where, you know, people using a gratitude diary is fantastic, and there's a lot of evidence to show that it works and it's really helpful, and it helps change your neural pathways. It helps change the way you look at things, because, you know, essentially what you look for, you find. So if you look for negative things, if you look for bad experiences, if you look for proof that everybody hates you, all that, you will find that. Whereas if you look for the positives, if you look for the good thing that happened, if you look for the kind person, or the, you know, whatever it was, you will find that. So that is absolutely true, and we do know that about gratitude. So gratitude is a very powerful practice. But sometimes in life, it is hard to find gratitude for anything. So even though, yes, you know, we live, well, I'm in Australia, and I live, you know, I'm very lucky. You know, I live in a beautiful home, and I have a business, and I have a husband, and I have a really good life. And in Australia, we're very lucky because we do have a really good life here. So, you know, there's a million things I can be grateful for, and I can be grateful for the fact that I'm safe, and I live in a nice, comfortable home, and I've got clean water, and I've got electricity, and all that. And I think that most of the time it is a good idea to actually just be really grateful for those things. However, look, sometimes things happen in life, and it's a bit hard at that moment in time to feel the gratitude. That's okay. So, you know, if you've just, if you've just lost your child, and you say to someone, "Oh, well, just be grateful because you've got another child." No, no. Okay, so sometimes, you know, when you're in the middle of something that is really traumatic for you, and lots of emotion and lots of grief and all of that kind of stuff, that's not the moment to start asking that person to practice gratitude, you know. And it's quite all right when you're in the middle of something traumatic to feel hard done by, to feel like a victim, to feel sad, to feel angry, to feel whatever it is you feel. And when someone's in the middle of all that, to say, "Oh, well, you should be grateful because," you know, that's... So that is when gratitude is sort of toxic. It's toxic if it's a way to try and deny someone their experience, or a way to try and belittle or make someone's experience smaller, right? Because if someone is going through a massive grief or a massive trauma, or something terrible has just happened to them, you know, telling them to be grateful is just, you know, it's just insulting, actually. And I remember this years ago when I had a few small strokes when I was in my 20s. And I remember immediately people saying to me, "Oh, you're really lucky because," right? And look, looking back now, yes, of course, I was lucky in lots of ways, because I didn't have a massive stroke. I didn't have to die. I didn't die. I didn't have to learn how to walk again. I didn't have to learn how to talk again. So yes, I was lucky compared to a whole bunch of other people. But I was in the hospital and had this brain damage, and I was coming to terms with some, you know, and I do have some visual loss, and I'm partially blind, and I have some health issues, and I was coming to terms with that. And it is okay to give people 5 minutes to feel sorry for themselves, right? It's okay to give people time to feel angry, and time to feel scared, and time to grieve the life they had, or the person they had in their life, or whatever it is. So if we kind of just go straight into those people going through these massive big life changes and say, "Oh, but you should be grateful," like, that's just so offensive, because you're not allowing that person to be where they need to be. So while positivity and gratitude have their place, and gratitude is ultimately, you know, when you're ready, when you're past the big storm part of whatever your trauma is, and you're sort of starting to kind of claw your way back into the world, you know, that might be a time when starting a gratitude practice is really helpful, because at that moment you can, you know, it's really hard to see the forest for the trees, and it's really hard to see good stuff because it's been such a challenging time. So gratitude is a great tool, and positivity can be a great tool as well, but not if what we fail to understand is we fail to understand that two things can be true at the same time. Two things can be real at the same time. So you can be really grateful for the fact that you have a safe home to live in, and you can be really angry that something has just happened to you, something terrible has just happened to you, that is fine. You can have both at the same time. So the other thing is that we do as an either or thing, that that someone who's angry isn't grateful, or someone who's, it doesn't work that way. The truth is, we can hold more than one thing to be true in our life at the same time, and that is honestly what we need to be doing. And what we do though is we only acknowledge one emotion, or we only acknowledge one thing. And the truth is, life is messy, and at any time in life, you'll be happy about this, your job's going well, but your relationship's falling apart. Your relationship's going well, but you hate your job. Your job was going well, but now it's not. Your business is going well, then COVID happens. Life happens to us, and so we do have ups and downs, and you can just hold several things to be true at the same time. So it can be true that you are ultimately lucky and that you have gratitude and that there's a lot to be thankful for, but it can also be true that you're super angry, and you're really sad, or you're whatever it is. That can be true as well, and that's perfectly okay. So whenever we use gratitude or positivity as a way to cancel out someone's feelings, as a way to deny someone's feelings, or as a way to deny the truth, then it is not a helpful tool. But if we use them as part of our healing tools and as part of our tools to move on when the time is right, then they can be very powerful. So with sort of positivity and with gratitude, it's all about the way you approach them. And if you approach them in a kind of holistic way, knowing that it's still okay to have a whole bunch of other feelings, and you understand that you've got to know where you're at before you can move to the next place. So just kind of being a Stepford wife and pretending you're happy and putting your smile on and just pretending everything is great when your whole world is falling apart and you don't feel that way. Look, it's fine. Like, you might do it for moments here or there if you're in situations where you need to. If you're going to the school drop-off and you're not really close to the mums or whatever, fine. There's moments where you might need to put your Stepford wife's face on. But generally speaking, denying how you feel and denying where you're at doesn't help you get anywhere, and doing just this toxic kind of positivity and gratitude doesn't help. So I hope that's not clear as mud. I hope that is actually clear what I just said. If you have any questions, pop them below. And just a little shout out to say that our Stress Less program will be beginning on the 21st of March, and I've put a link in here, and I'll put another one below. It's not on sale yet, but you can put your name on the waiting list to be. I'll let you know. You'll be the first person that knows when it does go on sale. But these are the sorts of things that we delve into much deeper into that group, and essentially with our Stress Less program, we look at nutrition, we look at stress, we look at what causes stress, we look at boundaries and energy and a whole bunch of stuff. So it's a great, beautiful, group that we run, and it's a beautiful program to really help people manage their stress and looking at things from all different perspectives. These are the kind of discussions that we have in there. So anyway, I hope that it has been useful, just kind of clarifying that gratitude and positivity can be great in their place, and they're great tools, but when they are just tools that we use to deny our own experience or to deny someone else's experience, then they can absolutely be very toxic. So anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back in again to chat to you probably next Thursday. I haven't been doing the Thursdays all the time, but anyway, I'll be back in probably Thursday, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, bye.